Narcissistic abuse is everywhere, but few people recognize it for what it really is. Narcissistic abuse isn't always easy to spot, even when you're living through it. It's not just about shouting, or name-calling, or obvious control. It's about psychological neglect, subtle invalidation, and emotional harm that slowly chips away at your confidence, your peace, and your sense of self. Millions of people are suffering in silence. And if that's you, I want you to know. You are not crazy. You are not weak. You are experiencing abuse. What is narcissistic abuse? Narcissistic abuse is a pattern of chronic invalidation, lack of empathy, dismissal of your emotions, psychological control, dehumanization. It's the slow erosion of your self-worth through constant manipulation. You start to question yourself. Am I too sensitive? Why does everything feel like my fault? Maybe if I try harder, things will get better. But no matter how much you give, it's never enough. What makes narcissistic abuse so devastating? Unlike other forms of abuse that are easier to identify, narcissistic abuse hides behind charm, love bombing, empty apologies, gifts, financial support. They say I love you while simultaneously neglecting your emotional needs. They may pay the bills, buy gifts, attend family events, and call that love. But real love is not transactional. Real love is empathy, respect, emotional safety. Why narcissists hurt people they claim to love? Here's the painful truth. For narcissists, relationships are utilitarian. They use people the way you use a cup of coffee, for convenience, for gratification. Once your purpose is served, your feelings no longer matter. You become invisible unless they need something again. They view love as what you can do for them, not how they can care for you. That's why they can say, "But I took you on vacation. I bought you gifts. I supported you financially, what more do you want?" What they fail to give you is the deep emotional connection that real love requires. The hidden trauma of narcissistic abuse. Survivors often experience chronic anxiety, emotional numbness, self-doubt, panic attacks, low self-esteem, PTSD-like symptoms, because your nervous system has been living in survival mode, constantly walking on eggshells, trying to avoid their anger, coldness, or rejection. Narcissism versus narcissistic personality disorder. Not every narcissist has narcissistic personality disorder, and this is where many people get confused. Narcissistic personality disorder is an official clinical diagnosis, but many narcissists never meet the criteria because they face no personal distress. Their careers thrive. They're often socially admired. You don't get diagnosed for making others miserable, you get diagnosed when your behavior causes your self-impairment. Why awareness is power. Once you finally recognize the pattern, you can't unsee it. At first, there's grief. Grief for the years you spent trying to fix someone who was never willing to change. Grief for the life you imagined, but didn't get. But after the grief comes power. Because now you can name it. You can protect yourself. You can stop blaming yourself. But for survivors, it doesn't matter whether it's diagnosable or not. The impact on you is very real. Survivors often see red flags sooner. Once you've lived through narcissistic abuse, you become hyper-aware of the signs, the charm that feels too intense, too fast. The constant need for validation. The defensiveness when called out. The absence of genuine empathy. Sometimes, survivors get accused of being too harsh or too dismissive when they spot these signs early, but that's not harshness. That's self-protection. What love really is, and what it is not. Healthy love isn't about how much someone spends on you or what events they attend. Love is respect, mutual care, willingness to take responsibility. Narcissists often offer something that looks like love, but is closer to grape juice pretending to be wine. It looks similar on the surface, but lacks true depth. If you've lived through narcissistic abuse, whether for months or for decades, know this. You are not weak because you stayed. You are not foolish for loving someone who couldn't love you back. You are not broken because of what they did. You survived. And you still deserve peace, safety, and real love. Thanks for watching.